Hello, this is Cuckoo, and I'm at Superbooth 2016. This is the first time they're running Superbooth, and I think it's a really nice start. I'm right here at Bastl Instruments booth with Vaclav.
Yeah, hello, Cuckoo.
It's nice to meet you again.
Yeah.
So the last time I saw you was in the NAMM show, but I didn't have the time to see what you introduced then. And now you have even more to introduce, right?
Yeah, like at NAMM we had like 4 modules, and so that there was a sequencer called Popcorn, and then there was like 2 modules which were interfacing with foot pedals. So that's why I have so many like foot pedals on the ground, and they control whatever is happening in the modular. And then we also introduced an output module through which we are recording the sound now. But now like we have 3 new modules to show, and they are all sort of focused on sound processing, analog sound processing. So
yeah, I'd like to see them all.
Yeah, so basically the first one, it's called Hendrixson. Nice. Yes. And this is basically like input-output interface for instruments or guitars or stomp boxes. So basically the idea is that you have an input-output and you have a gain for the input and gain for the output, and then there is a mix output which is a crossfader between these two. So if I have a like stomp box connected, so basically the drive-at mix. So now it's going through this fuzz pedal and through the reverb. That's adding like this distorted sound to the guitar. And then basically this is voltage controllable. So then I can have like something like a crazy LFO running like this kind of most impactive sound of all basically for the sound. It's done like by CV control. So that's kind of like the catch of this module, but it's also really interesting to make feedback loops through the module. So if I was feedbacking this reverb just before we came through a bandpass filter, and it was awesome, like synth voice, for example. So yeah, it's a fun module.
And the feedback is like near zero latency, right? It's analog.
Of course. Yeah. It's all analog circuit, and basically if you take the drive-at output and feed it back to the pedal, then you get the feedback loop. But it's really good to like feedback it through a bandpass filter, because then the band of the bandpass filter kind of makes the feedback frequency really stand out. And for things like reverb, it really like makes the tone. And if you have a Volt-Proactive filter, then it's really synth voice, and it's beautiful.
Cool. So so this is sending in and out, and cool. And the next one.
So the next one is Damo. That's basically it's an envelope follower. So it's like analyzing signals from the signal that's coming in, and I can use the envelope to, for example, like work with my filter. I can't hear myself now. I have to turn this up a bit more.
Which of the sounds are you now working with?
I'm working with the guitar, but since they started to play next door, I need to turn this up a bit. So now we can hear it. So basically the filter is being like struck by the loudness of the guitar. So that's the classic like auto-wach or envelope follower trick. But this module also has like a comparator, so it can extract gate signals from the signal. And then what's special about it? It has a compressor curve generator. So basically with this CV you can use like any VCA or QVCA or Vectral or anything to create a compressor, and it uses the same threshold as the comparator, and then the compression ratio is set by the attenuation of this signal on the input of the VCA. So that's like the main trick of this module.
By the way, everyone, the guitar that's playing is a guitar, and it's right here, and it's being sequenced by all these modules, and then sent out, pulses to control these motors. And here is an eraser, a rubber that's tuning the guitar.
That's what's happening. It's all sequenced like from this other setup with like all the motor modules that people might be already familiar with. And also about this module, the Dynamo, there is also another section which is like voltage controlled switch. And now I'm going to go very nerdy and techy, because what like the cool thing in module now is the through zero modulation. And basically this module allows you to make some kind of fake through zero modulation. So if you have like two audio rate signals modulating, most of the times like the negative part of the modulating signal is cut off, it's just ignored, unless you have the modulated oscillator is through zero. But like with this module, you can just make it never go negative, and then with the comparator you can decide what happens in the negative range. So on the modulated oscillator you can, for example, have different waveform, or it can be inverted, or it can be like whatever else happening with the modulated oscillator in the negative range of its modulation. So that's like the other catch of this. And I'm saying like negative range, but like the zero crossing point is adjustable by CV, and that sounds really awesome. But yeah, for the like modular nerds, they would know what I'm talking about. But normal people, I don't think so.
I'm wondering what I could see there was a sort of sequencer or something called popcorn.
Yes.
What could you show me a bit of that?
Yeah, sure. So let's see. So basically, this is the popcorn. It's sequencing the grandpa, the sampler, and the trick about the popcorn is that you have like classic 8 steps, but then sure. So then like there are 2 triggers, trigger A and B, and they are sequenced from the trigger sequencer down here. And the combination of those triggers, it actually makes the melody. So I'll just load a new pattern to like show you. So I just make like simple straight sequence to like advance the sequencer always like 1 step forward. But then like for the trigger I can select how many steps it goes. Now it's 3 forward, 2 steps forward, which makes a 4 step sequence, or just 2 steps which spans between like two notes. But what the interesting part happens when you start to combine 2 of these triggers, and both of them have like selectable number of steps they can do. So I'll just put another sequence that will like do the other trick. So now it already creates like a complex melody which is not really like limited to 8 note sequence. It's and then like once I change the trigger sequence, it starts to make completely different melody on the sequencer.
Yeah. Right now the sound we're hearing is coming from the grandpa.
Yes.
Which is basically a very small version of the micro granny. How do you prepare the sounds for that? Do you just dump them on the SD card?
Yeah, I mean the grandpa has a little display which basically shows you the name of the sample. So once you put the samples on the SD card, they should be specific name.
Yeah.
And they have to be mono wave files, 16-bit. That's pretty much it. And then the SD card is just like here from the top, so you can just take it out. The nice thing about the grandpa is that if you like take the card in, put another one in, then you can like reboot it, and it just you can like use it as cartridges and swap it like live.
Yeah. I think it's nice in the in the modular world. Everything you hear is sequences looping and making all the same sort of noises and filters, but including a granular little synthesizer with samples, it really creates a little fresh, a fresh ingredient in the modular world.
Yeah, I think our modular systems sound pretty different because we don't really have an analog oscillator, which most of modular synths is the core of them.
Yeah.
But instead we use the granular sample for now. Of course, I'm working on an oscillator, but it's you can tune it. You can really play melodies with the sampler, and that's the way why our system sounds so different.
And also another very important key is what you're seeing in the background. Most of the sounds actually are generated by physical objects, and striking them in different places.
Yeah. Oh, the string just broke.
Oh.
You see this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. You're playing too hard.
I need to find a guitar string.
Yeah. But another thing I've been wondering about, I've never set up a modular system myself, so I'm wondering if you could show me what it looks like inside if we take out the module and put it back in.
Yeah. So maybe let's do it here. I can take out this popcorn maybe. So basically, what the only thing you really have to do is to connect the power supply for the module. So
yeah, because all the audio and signal processing is done by you on the surface.
Exactly. So basically, this is the power cable.
Yeah.
And what you see here inside is a power distribution board. It's called bus board, and then all the modules come with this power cable, which you just plug into the bus board, and this way I could just exchange the modules, just put another one in if I feel like I don't want to use popcorn now or whatever, which hardly happens. But
and it's foolproof. You can't put the power cable on the wrong way, can you?
You can, of course.
Yeah.
It really depends on the manufacturer, but I mean it's standardized. There is always a red side on the cable.
Yeah.
It's the mantra. Yeah. I mean people are doing it wrong all the time.
Yeah.
That's super normal in customer support. People just make it wrong. But what we do is that we put a protection circuit, so it rarely happens that we have to ship the unit back, that it gets really damaged. It almost never happens because we put the protection circuit.
So the red goes to the red. I mean, I could see on the connection where the red side should be.
On the connection board, it's always labeled that it's red, which is the -12 side.
Yeah.
That's usually at the bottom, both on the module and both on the bus board. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So that's fairly simple. I mean, it's simpler than most things.
Yeah, I mean it's nice because you have a lot of independent units, and then you just don't have to take care about power adapters. It's just you just plug it in once, and then you have a master switch on the modular system, and that's it. Yeah.
But another thing that I noticed when I look here is that you got several size boxes now.
Yes. So basically, what our main system is this one. It's the Rumburak. We updated it with the popcorn and a few other modules. So it's now full complete system, which is great for traveling, and it's really its capabilities are really huge. It's a lot of sequencing and voices going on. And then the new two cases are these, and these are Bob a Bobek. That's the names come from Czech cartoon fairy tale. So the bigger one is Bob and the smaller one is Bobek, and they both have the possibility to be connected to a microphone stand. So they have this insert. So you probably won't play it like this, but if you have it on a stage and it's flat on the microphone stand, you can just have it close to you, and you can like tweak the knobs. Maybe if you play an instrument.
Yeah.
The main difference between these two boxes is that the bigger one has all the like foot control modules like built in.
Yeah.
So basically then if you had this like on the stage on the microphone stand, then you have like the foot controls. So if you were either playing guitar or any other instrument, you can just control the modular with your foot, and then if there is something like you want to change on the stage, you just have it right next to you on the microphone stand.
Yeah.
It's kind of the basic idea.
Yeah. And I think one thing. I mean, I'm really eager to try these things for the music that I make. I'm just struggling to find like how should I use them and how should I set them up and stuff. And one main challenge is to how do I find these motors and where do I order them, and to make sure that they comply with your powers and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's obviously the most tricky part, like for the mechanical stuff. Doing like mechanics or like robotics, it really requires a little bit of knowledge, like beforehand. But like what we provide is basically like the connection between the modular system and the motor itself. But then like the motor you want to use for your application, it really needs to fit your needs.
Yeah.
So I mean, we kind of link people to the motors that we use, but they don't like work for everything. So what I have like here are like those CD-ROM drive motors.
Yeah.
And that's like, it's just taken from old CD-ROMs. That's like if the CD went out of the computer, that's the mechanism. It's really good like mechanical solution.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost anything these days. You can just get it like for free. So if you take this apart, you have like one type of motor.
Yeah.
And then like the other types of motor, like these solenoids, they are basically you can get them. It's not like super common. I mean, you can get them from eBay. That's not a problem. And we already like selling these on our web shop.
Yeah.
So then, like, getting the motor, that's one part of the problem, basically, most of the times.
And then you wouldn't believe this, but that one of the trickiest thing is to make them not move. And this, it sounds ridiculous, but how do you make sure that it just stays in place?
Yeah, like if you want to hit a string of a guitar, for example, now the string broke, as you can see. That's funny, like during the interview.
Yeah.
So basically what you need to do is you need the motor not move, and it needs to be in the right distance from the string, otherwise it damps it or it just doesn't sound good. So like we're using like this modular furniture to fix it, but then like there is this, you know, this thing going all the way there, which just holds this wooden piece in place so it doesn't move at all. And the guitar shouldn't move at all. And this is like way bigger problem than getting the right motors or getting solved the electronics part. It's always the mechanics. I mean, you can make it work with the duct tape for 5 minutes, but if you want to make it work for 3 days, like this show is, as you see, the string broke, so we were not successful in this yet. But I can tell that we're kind of working on a system that will like really help people to mount it to anything. Whether you're like a drummer that want to use like these things to drum. We're working on something that will like make it really easy, like this kind of precise positioning. And then, like when the motor doesn't move, and it moves, like it's really not it's not an easy problem to solve. But
well, I think that pretty much sums it up. If is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I wanted to show the drum, so that's another one of those new modules. But like now, I think I need to revive the guitar to be actually able to do anything with that. So maybe I have some kind of signal going on from the guitar. So the drums is it's an analog downsampler, like sample rate reducer, or some people call it bit crusher even. It's not doing anything with the bit. and it's a pretty simple architecture. It's an oscillator, sample and hold, and a comparator. But what the nice thing is that if you adjust the threshold of the comparator, you get sort of like a drive effect of the downsampling, and of course it's all voltage controllable. But yeah, like this collection of modules makes like so many interesting use cases, and downsampling is just one of them. But it's obviously like the most exposed in this module because it's kind of pre-wired to just do the downsampling. Yeah.
And that is made. And is that a collaboration with someone in Norway, in Tromsø?
Yeah. We have a friend in Tromsø, Per Martinsen, aka Mental Overdrive, and he's sort of a famous electronic music producer. And when, like in the 90s, he kind of liked the old school aliasing of the old samplers, and he commissioned a group of like inventors called Psybe, I hope I spell it well, and he wanted them to create something that actually makes the quality of the sound like lower specs, like lower sample rate on the samplers and lower bit rate, and they came up with an analog device called Distortotron, and basically it's a very similar architecture to what Tromsø is. And Per borrowed me this machine. I played with it. I really loved the sound, and then that sort of inspired me to create this module. Because like what it does, it's awesome, but like having a CV control over it is like whole another level. Yeah. So yeah,
cool. Another thing I think you mentioned yesterday was that you're kind of expanding your collective.
Yeah. Like since we talked last year at Musikmesse, the whole kind of business, or like we just had to make a lot of things because people really wanted to have our stuff. So we had to find new people. But the funny thing is that we didn't really have to find them. They found us. And they were mostly like musicians interested in this stuff already. So what kind of happened is that there is a collective of musicians that formed around us somehow. All the people that wanted to build their instruments, and they are like helping with different stuff. Everybody has a different skill set. But what is really nice is that everybody like in the crew is somehow a musician. So, and there are guys like, for example, the guitar module itself, like there were like now like 3 or 4 guys who play guitar, and they were like, hey, I need to connect my guitar to the modular. So like this module especially is really like, it comes from the need of the community to sort of like use the instruments we do in a certain way. So I think that's kind of interesting. And what we really do a lot is that we meet and we share experiences on making music, and basically all the guys working with us, they're building their modular systems, and they play them. It's really great. So we share a lot of knowledge, and I think what's kind of we're catalyzing something on the music scenes that might become really interesting in a year or two. Like now like the guy who was working for us like the most, like for the longest period of time, he really like came to a point when he's really established musician, and last week he just got like the Czech equivalent of the Grammy Award for electronic music, which I'm really happy about, and I think he will be playing on the party on Sunday here in Berlin. So yeah. So it's really great to see that there is like something happening, like music-wise.
That's great. And another thing I noticed, I haven't been there myself, but last year you arranged what's it called, Kitchen Fest or something?
Yeah, like we because like there were like people interested in what we do. We set it up a little shop, like a showroom. We call it Noise Kitchen. Yeah. And for the opening of the shop, we organized a kind of a like synth meet festival, and a lot of people showed up, which was great. And this year we're doing it again in May. what is it? There is the date somewhere. 27th and 29th of May. You can see the lineup here. And also Mental Overdrive is coming to play from Norway.
Yeah, that's great.
Headliner Goldwiener from Berlin. It's gonna be a lot of awesome stuff at the fest, and yeah, I'm really looking forward. And we're gonna also have a lot of girls playing, which we wanted to have like as one of the main things at the festival, to really have like women play electronic music, which we think is really exciting. We're working with a girl called Nicole, and she was making CDs of videos like how to start with a modular synthesizer, and yeah, you can check it like online. She's really awesome.
Oh, that's great. I can see on my camera I'm running out of batteries, so I think we have to round it off here. But yeah, this is a Bastl instrument, and yeah, you're growing and growing, and people seem to like it. I've seen some of these modules or systems appear here and there, and here at the show floor I can see many of these modules appear in many of these modular racks, and I think that's a really nice recognition. And because in the modular space, it's not like it's not very easy to find what you like, because there are so many modules out there. So I'm really happy to see that your modules are appearing all over the show floor. It's really cool.
Yeah, I can't say how happy am I for that. Yeah, it's really exciting. It's the best thing to do.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to show me these things.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Peace out.